welcome to Voices Unhindered. I'm Crystal Jenkinson. On this show, I give a unique perspective and listening ear to voices that often go unheard. I want everyone to know that you are not alone and that your voice and story matters. This week, business owner of The Dating Coach, Jude Gane, shares insights from her experience from real estate, people management, and mediation, and how that applies to human behaviour. Jude shares why she thinks so many of us struggle with finding a real relationship and commitment. Also, subscribe to my podcast now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Hello, Jude. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you. So lovely to be here.
I wanted to start with a little bit about where did you grow up and what was the environment like?
So I grew up in a really isolated area. So I didn't go to school like most people. So I was homeschooled. And I grew up in a family, not a family who were really forward thinking. It was very much about here and now. Both my parents were older. They had been in the war. I feel maybe some trauma from that.
Yeah, were they both in the war?
Yes, my dad, he was Welsh and he joined the...
I'm Welsh. Part Welsh. Yeah, my granddad is.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, my dad was going to work in the coal mines like the rest of his family.
Wow.
But his uncle wouldn't let him, so he couldn't get a job. And when the war started, he lied about his age. He was 15 and signed up with the British Navy at the time. And so he was on destroyers. So he never talked about the war. But my parents were quite self-sufficient people. So they didn't need a lot of other people. So I guess we didn't have a lot of other people.
Very independent, is that what you mean?
I think so. And possibly reasonably resilient. I was 12 before I realised that not everyone in the world wore gumboots. People actually wore shoes. So it was a bit of a different life. When I left home, I was only 16, came to Christchurch, and I didn't have those social skills that other people get. Just going to school, I had none of those.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I had a brother and an older sister and a younger brother. When I came to Christchurch, it was a really steep learning curve for me. And I can remember going, these people know things I don't. And so I was really aware, and I think I always have been aware of people's behaviour. As I grew in my behaviours, I realised that a lot of people, they don't behave naturally. They behave the way they feel they have to fit in, which is a bit of a shame, really.
Yeah.
So I've always had an interest in behaviour.
Did you say where you grew up, like what town it was?
Oh, well, I grew up in a few places, really.
Yeah.
My dad was a lighthouse keeper, so we moved around every sort of 3 years. So there was no great continuity. And it was fascinating. Like it wasn't a terrible lifestyle. It was great. As far as being with people and getting those skills that we just take for granted, I didn't have those.
Is that why you were homeschooled partly because you had to move a lot, do you think?
Well, there just was no schools. So you either went to boarding school or you were homeschooled. That was the choice. I think it's given me a huge resilience. How people work from home and they just don't get things done. I can quite kind of focus and do that. You're
disciplined.
Reasonably.
That's cool.
Not as much as I'd like.
Yeah, and do you think, what was your mum doing in the war? Do you mind me asking? And was it the Second World War?
Yes. So my mum was in the army here and she went to Japan with the occupying forces.
Oh, wow.
And so she was well before her time. And I think she had a great career when probably women didn't have careers quite the same.
Yeah.
And then she gave that up to go to get married, have children, and live in one of the remotest parts of the country. That must have been a real challenge. So my parents were interesting people, but as far as those people skills, as children, I just don't think we developed them quite the same. So we had to learn them later, which kind of means that you notice things that other people possibly take for granted.
Did you feel like something was lacking when you moved into like a bigger city? Like, is that what you kind of mean? Like you felt like you'd missed out on something?
Yes, in some ways I guess I did, because I noticed how other people just got stuff, whereas I didn't. And I had never dealt with particularly unkindness or that sort of thing. I didn't get those. I can remember somebody saying to me once, I said, gosh, your hair's lovely. It was blonde. And she said, I dye it. And I said, oh, it's lovely. And I said, what colour is it normally? And she said to me, oh, it's just kind of a horrible mousy brown like yours. And that stuck with me. That was the first time that anyone had been kind of that subtle meanness.
And when you gave her a compliment, and it's like, why would you do that?
I just, all these years later, I still remember how I felt.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was a little moment of, I've got to learn a little bit of stuff here. But I've always had that interest in why, the way we behave and why we act the way we do.
Yeah. Did you struggle with understanding like why someone would be like that and didn't know how to respond, kind of? Is that what you mean?
Yes. And so it took me a wee while to realise that that wasn't about me. That was someone else's behaviour. I think I took it quite personally. So,
and you do when you're young, eh? Like with all sorts of comments.
I feel even with the best of skills, when you're young, it's difficult.
Yeah.
So, we want to be accepted.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think it's just sort of started me on my journey of being interested in other people, the whys, the hows.
I was going to say your hair's so nice. Like,
possibly that was my moment to have good hair. Yeah, I don't know. But now I kind of have got to that stage where, and I won't say I don't care what people think about me because I do, but I kind of have a bit of an understanding on whether people are speaking from a place of support or whether it's more about maybe some issues that they have.
Like, it's someone's perception about you. It's not necessarily the truth. It's like how they feel. Is that what you're saying, kind of?
Yes, it is. And I guess I've always been fascinated with dating and how we date and why we're not successful, because today there are so many people who are single and can't find somebody. And I kind of look at how they behave around that. There's a lot of people who are really almost desperate to find somebody because they're lonely, but they don't have an understanding of what they need. It's more about what they want.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of had that angle, if we know who we are, then we have good boundaries around what's acceptable. And boundaries are, I think, a bad word. I think boundaries are really, I think everyone needs boundaries of some sort.
Yeah, definitely.
And so then it kind of goes from there to having great relationships. And having great relationships with our families, our friends, and our potential romantic partners. But really being authentic about who we are rather than trying to kind of be who we think people want us to be.
Yeah.
Because that's exhausting.
Just going back to people being desperate, even like there's a lot of single people nowadays. When you say the word desperate, do you think that comes from a place of insecurity, like not being secure in yourself, so you feel like you need someone else to fill that void that you actually can't find in someone else?
Absolutely. And a lot of what I do in my coaching work is to help people become more confident in themselves. Because, and I don't use that word desperate in a bad way. I feel that if we're insecure, and we all have moments of insecurity or, different levels, but I guess the more confident we are in ourselves, the more we know ourselves and who we are, what we need, what we want, that sort of thing, the more successful our lives are. And that goes forward to our dating lives.
That's right.
So I guess I'm about people knowing who they are before they date.
Yeah.
Because I think that means that we can potentially date better and more authentically. We're able to sort of say, hey, look, I'm not comfortable with that behaviour, or I, like me, I love people. So that gives me energy. Whereas other people are like, no, you just leave me alone. I like people, but I like them over there. We're all different. And it's kind of knowing who we are and what makes us happy, what brings us joy.
Do you think a lot of people don't know who they are and they just morph into something that they feel like someone wants them to be?
Yeah, I do. And I feel, you know, when people come out of a relationship, you'll often kind of hear them say, I just gave up myself. I didn't know who I was. And then that's where being single can be a really amazing time of self-discovery.
Exactly.
So I think a lot of people come out of a relationship and then look for their next one because they haven't kind of figured out who they are.
Sometimes, like, they need to heal from trauma before jumping into, like, another. That's
Absolutely.
my own experience.
I think that's probably most people's experience.
Mm.
And we need to give ourselves time. We need to give ourselves
Yeah.
time, do some work, and whether that's counselling for some people, coaching, whatever it is that works, we need to maybe rediscover ourselves.
Mm.
Sometimes in a relationship, people give up their friendships,
Yeah.
their connections, and it's about maybe that's not the person I want to be.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to just kind of find out who I really am and be that person.
Mm.
Because when you're who you really are, that's very comfortable.
And you attract to, like, what you are. Like, until you do the work on yourself, you're not gonna attract, like, what you actually want.
No, you're not.
And that's where you have to kinda, like, look in the mirror first rather than.
And we have to take quite a hard look in the mirror because sometimes it's a wee bit uncomfortable
Yeah.
because we for most of us, we like to be liked and accepted, and
Mm.
that's where we function. But sometimes it's really good to, like I kind of liken it to sitting in a chair and going, am I comfortable with who I am?
Mm.
And if the answer's no, then get some help, because there's lots of people around who can help. And if you are 100%, then go forward. But that's when your dating will be successful
Mm.
because everything in your life is successful. But finding a partner is not the only thing in life.
Mm.
Lots of other things as well that kind of round us as people.
I was wondering, have you always been a people observer, like, since you were little and recognized patterns?
Yes, I think I have. I think even as a child, I can remember if anyone came to stay with us, I would be kind of figuring out who they were and where they were coming from. I was
Mm.
probably very annoying. But that was in my head was, why are they like that? Why do they have these opinions? Because I've always been interested in different opinions. And I find the more different opinions we have, the more we grow. And then I've been fortunate enough to be in like positions work-wise that I've done a lot of coaching for work. And that I realised that was my happy place.
Mm.
That's where I can work all day and I don't feel my energy draining. It actually energizes me.
Mm. And that's how you know you found, like, something that you, like, really like, hey, is when you don't feel drained by it.
Absolutely.
Your parents, did they have a good relationship growing up? Did you kinda observe that they were in love and things like that, or did you
I think maybe they were in the beginning. My dad got really sick.
Oh, sorry.
And so that was really hard. So instead of kind of looking for, staying here, we went to a tiny wee island off Riverton, down by Stewart Island. So, and I can remember him being really sick.
Yeah.
But I think how hard that must have been for my mum. So I think their relationship
Was strained.
was, I think it was somewhat strained for a lot of years. But then as they got older, I think they became more comfortable with each other, which was really
That's
lovely.
sweet.
Yeah. And those were in the days when people stayed together.
Stay together,
They
yeah.
didn't leave.
I love that. Like, I saw that with my grandparents. They were married and my parents were divorced, and there was a lot of trauma when I was a kid, and hence why I grew up with my grandparents. When I saw their marriage, I was just like, it's beautiful how they're so committed to each other. It's like they were like one. I just saw them like one and as one person, if that makes sense. I know it sounds weird nowadays
No,
because
that's
everyone's
lovely.
so like independent, even in
Oh.
relationships, but not with them. And I felt like that was special and something I wanted.
And I think we've kind of forgotten that. And I feel that it's very easy to get unmarried. And I'm not criticising anybody,
Mm.
but I feel that, if we were to buy a puppy, we buy the puppy and we love the puppy
Mm.
and it eats our shoes and we're not happy, but we still love the puppy. We don't give it away. We don't leave it, but we still love that puppy. And yet with our relationships, we get disappointed. We stop loving. And I guess that we kind of need to go back to understanding that in all relationships, nothing's perfect, but maybe we need to learn to love through that. So I feel that we don't have a lot of emotional resilience in our relationships. We give up quite easily, which can be a shame, because if you really care for somebody, then with the right communication or some help, once again, counselling, coaching. I coach couples who have been in relationships long term, or they're starting a relationship and they want to get some really great communication going. But then we go, and I know this is a little bit naughty, but I kind of say that we leave a relationship and we go looking for someone else's rejects, because we've all been rejected in some way by someone. And so people become single and then they look around and they go, oh, but I thought this would be so amazing, and it's not. And then they kind of go, well, actually, maybe my relationship wasn't that bad, but it's often too late to kind of get that together again. So, yeah, I feel that if people could learn to know themselves, learn to communicate really well, and to listen, to understand rather than just hear the words, that I think we'd all be a wee bit happier.
I just wanted to ask about, so when it comes to dating coaching, is your focus more on self-growth, perception and self-awareness versus finding the one,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I'll say that most people's focus is finding the one. So, and a lot of people say, look, I'm in a really good place, and I'm kind of going, not so sure about that. But, to have, and I'm a coach, I'm not a counsellor. So, if someone needed counselling, I would send them that way. But I guess I think sometimes that to have someone who's a wee bit objective, to tease out just where we are and where we want to be, to have somebody help us get there is really good. And I feel that our relationships would be a lot more successful if everybody had coaching. Like I think coaching's a game changer in every way, and it's proved that it is in work situations. So I feel in dating situations, it just changes everything. And to see people grow in confidence and kind of go out there knowing that they are enough, knowing that they don't have to be what the next person wants them to be. It is okay just to be who they are. That's pretty amazing. So I guess I'm all about people working on themselves, and that's what Extended Disc is about. I have a profile for dating, for some emotional intelligence, which is a real currency now, and I think we don't put enough emphasis on that. So Extended Disc is about it's a behavioural tool, and so it kind of measures your authentic behaviour and your adjusted behaviour, so who you are,
I see,
and who you kind of adjust to fit in. And we all need to do that in some times, in our works, in our relationships, in our families. But when you're in your authentic place, that doesn't require energy.
Yeah.
When you're adjusting, that can require energy. So knowing all about who you are is invaluable, because when you meet someone, you won't feel a need to kind of be who you think they want you to be, because you'll have that confidence in yourself to know that to be successful, you just have to go, hey, this is me.
Yeah, not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay.
And it is okay. Yes, it
when
is.
you're okay with yourself, like you don't care so much. Like you do care a little bit, but it's not like it's going to impact your life that much.
No, no, that's right. It doesn't change your world. So I guess it's about getting to that stage, and then going, hey, look, this person might be lovely, but our values don't align. Or, I've got these boundaries and this person doesn't respect those, or, or vice versa. It's just, those things are so important if people want successful relationships. And for some reason, we often understand those in our workplaces and our family lives. But when we meet someone we like, we just don't think about those things, because we've met someone we like for whatever reason, and we don't want to lose them. So we become who we think they want us to be, which actually often is not what we think anyway. So we need to have really good communication to be able to understand who they are and to be able to let them know who we are authentically.
Could you please expand more on why you feel like online dating has made people become more shallow, and what do you mean by shallow?
Okay, so I feel, and I have this expression that we've become as shallow as a puddle. And I'm not putting online dating down, because I think that any avenue that you can meet someone is worthwhile. But I think if people are going to online dating, they have to be quite conscious about it. So years ago, I think online dating probably worked really well. There was a lot of people on there, and a lot of them had great intentions. I find a lot of my clients, they don't go online. They've found they don't meet the caliber of people they're looking for, and it's just too hard. So they're not there. So I guess there's a limited number there, but it's also about online dating has made us kind of have that idea that there is always somebody better, because we go online, there's all these people, and we're flicking whatever way we're flicking, and we're blocking, and we're whatevering. But there's not a lot of authenticity there.
Yeah.
And I feel that even when somebody meets somebody, they're still going, oh, this person's really nice, but oh, this person's come up on my app, and oh, that person looks really nice. Is that person better than this person? So I'll see this person, but I'm talking to that person. So we're never really engaging fully. We're only kind of halfway, and can't build a relationship when you're talking to a pile of people, because you're just not engaged. And so that's about being authentic as well.
How do you avoid that? Like, if you choose to do online dating, like you say, it's not all bad. How do you avoid falling into the trap of choosing people like you're at a supermarket, just like looking through the...
I think for a lot of people, it's about feeling validated because somebody likes me. And for some people, that could be quite important. Some people use dating apps almost as a time filler. So it's sort of, they don't have any intention of meeting these people, but it's someone to talk to. I don't know. I don't quite understand that. But I guess if you're going to online date, you need to be intentional. So you need to figure out what you want. And if you have figured out who you are and what you need, because sometimes what we need and what we want can be different. I think it is about, if you're going to meet somebody, meet them, talk to them, get to know them, and then make your decision. And I kind of feel that we all need 3 or 4 dates to kind of get to know someone. Because sometimes on that first date, people can be quite nervous. It's hard. So just go one by one. Don't worry about how many people are out there, because a lot of the people won't be your people anyway.
Yeah.
So actually think about some questions to ask people. Like, for some people, excess alcohol and drugs is not their thing. So those people are not theirs. For some people, their children might be grown up, so they might not want to be with someone who's still got small children, because it's a different stage of their lives. So I guess asking those questions. Also, does someone live a long way away? Do we have capacity to form a long distance relationship? And if not, then maybe that's not your person. So it's being a little bit practical, I guess. And I liken it to buying a house. If we were going to buy a house, we'd be thinking, well, these things are all important to me. And so, or if we're going to go for a job, all those things, we really thoughtful about, what do we need? What do we want? What can we afford? What else can we give to this? Dating is just, we go online and we go, oh, I like him, I like her. We're not thoughtful about it. And I feel that's where we go wrong, and people just get into the spiral of dating one person after another and never finding a real connection.
With no real depth. Is that what you mean?
Absolutely no depth. And
is that intentional? Like,
I think for some people it can be intentional, especially people that have just come out of long-term relationships or a
like, they're not
relationship.
really in it for they don't really know what they want. Is that what you mean? So
no, but maybe they're a little bit lonely. Maybe they want to kind of get back out of that dating, but it might not be serious dating.
Should they be dating then? Would you recommend that they wait and
Well, yeah, I would recommend that
work
they
on
wait
themselves. Yeah.
and do some work. But I guess whatever people do is okay as long as we're really upfront about that.
Oh, yeah.
So if somebody's online dating, then maybe they just need to make clear. And a lot of the apps will let you do that. Like you can be quite clear on what you're wanting. So there's no wrong relationship. But I guess if somebody's just wanting a little bit of fun for a short time, then maybe they need to stay away from the people that are looking for the long-term
Yeah.
relationships, or be incredibly upfront. This is all I am looking for. Because I think what's happening is people are not being completely honest about what they're after.
Yeah.
And then the big thing is, oh, I'm just not ready to date. I need to work on myself. But of course they don't. They just go on to the next one. And that can be quite destructive for the other person. So I think it is just about being honest about what your motivations are.
You mean they feel kind of betrayed? Like, you didn't tell me that and I really liked you, and that kind of, like, they led them on kind of?
That's how often people feel. And so I just think that, being really upfront about what you're wanting, or even that you're not sure what you're wanting, it doesn't matter, is just important, because that means that the other person can make choices.
Yeah.
They can go, well, that's okay for me, we'll see where it goes. Or, hey, look, no, that's probably not what I'm looking for at the moment.
Do you think it's easier in the online world to, like, have that lack of transparency with people? Like,
very much so. And I think I hold events. So I do singles mingles, and I'm going to do a speed dating event. This is the first speed dating event I've done. And I don't do these because I'm a great event organizer, and my clients will tell you that I'm not. But I did it because my clients were saying, we can't meet anybody. We're online, it's really hard, so we've given up. We're not meeting the caliber of people we want there. So I did a dinner to begin with. And then I started the singles mingles, which is just that old-fashioned single people meeting single people, which nobody does anymore. We go out, but we don't talk to anybody. It's just harder. So that's really successful. And it's interesting how much that builds people's confidence.
I'm not saying all males are like this, but there tends to be a lack of intentionality with males. They'd be either, it's so easy for them to show their interest online, but then in person they'd be like, I don't know, just acting funny, or like they have a lot of shyness, or if they're interested in a girl, they might not.
I think it's really hard for men these days, to be honest. Men are the ones who have to do the asking out. And I'm always saying to my female clients, if you like somebody, ask them out.
And nowadays it's changed a bit, like females asking men out. And for me, I'm quite old school, so I don't really agree with that. But I know that some women do that.
Well, I think it is really old school. And I think like a lot of us feel that. But I say to my women clients, ask men out. And when I say to men, how would you feel if a woman asked you out? Their faces light up and they smile.
Oh.
So I kind of go, maybe as women we have a little bit to learn about that.
Oh, true.
Because what's the worst thing that's going to happen?
Yeah, that's true.
Somebody might say no.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because
men
not your
have person.
Men have this all the time. So I just kind of feel like I coach more men than women.
Yeah.
And these guys blow me away. They are amazing. They want to be better in their romantic relationships, but they also want to be better in their family relationships, their works, their friendships. And I just go, wow. So while people sort of say, oh, men are this and men are that, men are actually amazing. And there's a lot of men out there that want a real connection.
Yeah.
And they're just finding their feet, because it's a whole new world now.
Yeah.
A lot of people grow up seeing that kind of stereotypical relationship.
Yeah.
And it's changed. Women earn their own money now.
That's true.
We can do anything.
Yeah.
So
it has changed.
It has changed a lot.
Yeah.
And yet we still expect men to pay for dinner when we go on a date. Like, really?
Is that okay? Do you agree with it?
No.
Yeah, these are things you need to talk about, because you don't, the expectations.
Look, I think it's a lot of men kind of have an expectation that they will pay, but I'm always for,
a lot of pressure, eh?
Like, just go and have a coffee or a walk. Don't do dinner. That's too hard. But I guess it's kind of like why does that man have to pay? Because
Yeah.
men are saying to me, well, look, I pay and I pay and I pay,
Yeah,
and
that's
like
true.
I never see them again.
That's interesting.
And so, like, why? I feel that I wouldn't expect anybody to pay for me in any situation.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, if we don't expect our friends to pay for us when
Yeah.
we go out, why would we expect
A
someone that
stranger? Yeah.
a stranger? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would we expect them to pay?
Because there's no commitment there, so
No,
so why would you expect?
and we're earning as
Yeah.
much as they are,
Mhm.
hopefully.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, and it's lovely,
Mhm.
it's lovely to take someone out for dinner on their birthday and pay for it or whatever it is when you know them. But
Yes.
I feel that, and I think a lot of women kind of feel that if a man doesn't pay, he's not a man. But that's not about what a man is. That's a very
Exactly.
old fashioned kind of view. So we don't want that whole thing of where men ruled the world as they did years ago,
Mhm.
and yet we still expect them to pay for our coffees and our dinners. That doesn't
Yeah.
sit well with me. That's just my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
And when I send my clients out, on dates, I will go, you just pay for your own coffee.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it. And I
Yeah.
think that's successful, but people are obviously uncomfortable with that.
Mm.
But I feel men can spend quite a lot of money getting to know someone, and then it doesn't go anywhere.
I mean, I'd feel bad if I didn't know a male and he paid. I wouldn't want him to, because then I
So
feel
would
like
I.
I owe him something, and I don't like that feeling. Like I'm like that with anyone. Like, you know what I mean? Like you feel like you owe someone something. You don't know if there's strings attached. You don't know what
Well,
their intentions are. 'Cause sometimes,
I guess, and then there should never be strings
and
attached.
yeah,
But,
in theory, yeah,
people will think differently. And
yeah.
so I just kind of feel that if you go out and you wouldn't expect your friends to pay for you and your family to pay for you, and we don't, why do we expect this person that we don't know or that we're getting to know to pay for us? That just seems wrong to
Mm,
me.
yeah,
I think we need to be independent, and that's part of being independent. So I think I swim against the
tied
tide
there,
there.
yeah. You've got some good arguments with the reasoning behind why. So
I think I have. I just need to convince everybody else.
I must be old school.
Well, I think that we're probably all a wee bit old school because we do hang on to that
Mm,
lovely kind of,
typical, yeah.
yeah, and it was nice. But in those days, women didn't earn money, or they
It's
may have
changed
worked
now.
part time, but it was very different. So I
Mm,
just feel today that if people are dating, it's really nice to do that on an equal level and just get to know each other. So spend your energy communicating, and just buy your own coffee or your cocktail or whatever it is.
mm. So you don't think it's bad for a woman to, like, pursue a man? Is that what you're saying? Like, how you said before, you don't think there's a problem if a girl asks a guy out? Or
I
you didn't say that?
Well, I kind of did. Well, look, I know it's difficult because we've all kind of been brought up where men ask women out and women that ask men out are kind of frowned on. But I feel that's a wee bit of a stereotype that we need to dispense with.
Oh, yeah.
It's just time to go, like, if you meet someone in whatever setting, and you felt there was an opportunity to say, look, really enjoyed talking to you,
Oh, yeah.
would you like to catch up for a coffee?
It just as friends, it's nothing at the
Yeah.
beginning, obviously.
And I feel that, when you do that, it's not dating.
Yeah,
It's just having a coffee,
being
going for a walk,
friendly. Yeah.
just getting to know that person to see if you
Mm,
want to date. I think we
yeah.
make it too
Do you
big.
think guys are waiting for that nowadays, or do you think there's an expectation? Do they feel pressured from what your experience talking to them
I think
to
that a lot of guys are just sick of women, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think they've done the asking out, they've done the buying the coffees and drinks, and they're a little bit jaded.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of men, maybe they've come out of a relationship and they're kind of finding their feet.
Mm.
It's difficult, and for a lot of men, financially, they are, when we leave a relationship, often we don't walk away with everything we went into that relationship with. Men have children that they have, week about, month about, whatever it is, or they're paying really high maintenance payments. So while they're getting back on their feet, paying for someone else
Mm.
is like a bit of a stress,
Yeah.
especially when that may or may not go somewhere. So I
Mhm.
guess, yeah, it feels almost like we're using somebody, and I
Yeah.
could be a little bit tough in saying that, but
Yeah.
I think it's quite hard for men these days. women have really high expectations, and that's great. But I think that men
Do you think they're unrealistic?
sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I think we just need to get to know people. We need to not worry about how tall people are, how short, how big, how small, all of those inconsequential things. We just need to get to know people.
Yeah.
And while we're doing that, we just need to enjoy our lives. Don't make it too hard. Just enjoy. Like, you know how sometimes you go to a meeting and somebody will talk and you'll go, wow, you
Mhm.
are really interesting. I didn't know you knew that. You know, like, and you just kind of see a whole different side of that person.
Yeah.
That's kind of what those coffees are about. It's
Mm.
actually getting to know that person rather than just judging on a photograph
Yeah.
or on that 15 to 30 minutes of coffee when
Mm.
everybody's kind of a little bit nervous. Just stop.
Yeah. We live in such a superficial, appearance-based society, especially when it comes to, like, dating. You're
Yeah.
always pressured to it's always, like, about the looks first versus, like, actually knowing the person, I feel like.
And some of the really great relationships that are, you know, have long-term relationships are people that have just got to know people. It hasn't always been that instant
Yeah.
wow. And often the instant wow doesn't always last.
Yeah.
So I think we need to know who those people are.
Mm.
Do their values align with ours? Do they make good decisions?
Yeah.
Even like financial literacy, it's something to talk about because no matter how much you like people, if that person never spends any money and you're someone that spends every cent you make, there's probably going to be some conflict
Yeah.
in that relationship. So just the fact that they're really good looking or, you know, your ideal physical, whatever, that's possibly not enough to keep that relationship going.
Mm.
There
That's
needs
true.
to be more than that.
Mm.
So I think we need to just be a little less superficial, a little less instantaneous.
Yeah. And do you think there's also a problem with commitment in this day and age compared to the old days? Like, do people find it hard to commit once they feel like they do really like someone dating? Do you think it's hard for either men or women to make the decision, like, about what they're gonna do next with that person?
Absolutely. And I think we were talking before, it's that kind of, this person's really great, but could I do better?
Back of your mind, like, "Oh, is there something better for me?"
Yes. So we're not 100% in that relationship. And I
And
think
that's sad, eh? That you feel like that we're trained to kind of feel like that.
and I think that is that's something that maybe the way we date in online dating has,
Done to us.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, we've let it happen, you know.
Yeah.
It's not, they haven't made us do that.
Yeah.
I just think kind of we've let that happen. And so it is about just being a bit more authentic,
Yeah.
like deciding, you know, meeting someone, no one's going to have everything. And there's kind of that 85% rule. You know, if that person is 85%, do they need to be 100? And the rest of your life, people aren't 100.
Yeah.
Like, do we expect our friends to be 100% of everything we need?
Mm.
Or if they're 85%, do we still love them?
Yeah.
We're going to keep them as our friends. And we do that for years.
Mm.
So, and we have all sorts of different kind of friends. So for
Mm.
some reason, we think that the person we're going to have a romantic relationship has to be everything.
Mm.
And that's probably not going to happen. Nobody's
Yeah.
perfect.
Just from my own experience, not that I've dated properly, but like I had a tendency to like create an image in my mind about the person. This is like when you're really young, you do that often. Like, you know, this person's going to be amazing and like they're everything I want. And like, I need this person in my life, like all that, like creating like is it a fantasy about someone and you actually become like quite obsessed with them. And it can be quite, I think it's quite damaging when you actually know the person, like you realize they're not actually what you created in your mind about that person, if that makes sense.
I think that's true for so many people.
Just
No,
expose myself.
well, no, I think that what you're just being really honest, which is
Yeah.
lovely. And I feel we need to be more honest and maybe a bit more vulnerable, because
Mm.
vulnerability is really important in relationships as well. Because that's when you let people in. And it's like, I've always thought that, you know, if you're going to find a partner, you want that person to be your best mate,
Mm.
but really fancy them at the same time.
Yeah.
So, but it's that friendship part of it that's really important. Are they that person that you want to tell the great things that happen? Are they that person whose opinion that you value? Do you respect them? So I think sometimes with relationships, we're always looking at what the relationship can be. So we're not really enjoying this part of it, this getting to know them.
Mm.
We're kind of months down the track when it's kind of a relationship, but it's what that we vision we have in our head.
Yeah.
And so we're always a bit disappointed because months down the track, it's not that vision because we didn't really factor in realities in that vision. And it's social media, I think, has a big part to play in this. We see perfect people, perfect families, perfect relationships. We see that on the TV programs.
Growing up like little girl stories with princesses and, marrying the prince and all that. Does that kind of play into how we think about
Well, absolutely. Like
marriage?
we're all watching
Yeah.
Bridgerton at the moment. Well, we've watched it. So those kind of shows have come back into fashion. Like they used to be, then nobody would watch them. Now they're all watching them again. Like there is no handsome prince.
Mm.
There are people out there who do all sorts of things, not so many princes. They are a little bit harder to find. And so I kind of think we need to, a lot of people are kind of looking for a prince when maybe they're not a princess.
Yeah.
Or they're looking for a princess when maybe they're not a prince.
That's so funny.
So look, I'll probably get hammered for that. But I kind of feel that, people will go, I want someone who goes to the gym all the time. I want someone who earns lots of money, blah, blah, blah. And this is both men and women. And I kind of look at them and I go, do you go to the gym all the time? Do you earn lots of money?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So what we want and what we bring to the relationship needs to be even.
Balanced, yeah.
Yeah, and balance, that's a lovely word.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we have to kind of look in that mirror and go, who am I? What am I bringing to this relationship? And are there some things that I need to change? And some people are really good at communication. Some people are not.
Mm.
And communication is kind of the key. If, you can't presume what somebody feels.
With your clients, do you ever see someone in a pattern of abusive relationship? I'm not saying anyone in particular, but like this kind of happened to me. I'd attract similar types of people because I was broken. I attracted broken types of people and they were all quite similar. And I had to take responsibility and say, like, I need to work on myself. And it's really hard to do that, I feel like, because I saw patterns of these types of people popping up and I'm like, hey, something's not right here.
And most of us are like that.
Yeah.
And if we keep doing the same thing, we get the same results. So I guess we need to, and that's where building confidence is really important, because often accepting those people, those broken people, are because we don't have confidence in ourselves or belief in ourselves. So a lot of what I do with coaching is work through that. So how do you have better belief systems? How do you increase your confidence? Because people are amazing. They just need to see that themselves. Often we see it in other people, but they don't see it themselves. So it's bringing that out. How just being who they are is enough. We have those patterns because we develop a tolerance to those behaviours, but they're not necessarily healthy behaviours.
Or you think it's like what you deserve, kind of. You get into this mode of like either you weren't valued as a child and you kind of think like, oh, this is what I deserve abuse, and then it happens and then you're like, okay, well, this is my life, and then you kind of just get into this rut of like such a low self-esteem, and then until you recognize it and like realize, hey, there's something wrong happening in my life and this isn't true, that I'm, useless or worthless, you're going to keep repeating the same patterns.
Absolutely. And sometimes that's just a lack of understanding, but it's certainly a lack of confidence. And so I feel that the more confident we are, the more able we are to make better choices. I mean, I'll go back to extended disc. I think that's invaluable because that shows us very clearly how we work in a relationship. And so that gives us an opportunity to go, I don't question anything. I just accept what's said and I don't put my point of view forward. So that person might go, well, do you know what? Maybe I'm going to start putting my point of view forward. But sometimes we need to even know what our point of view is if we haven't given ourselves that opportunity to do that. So it's about learning who we are and then kind of giving ourselves permission to be that person. I think we kind of think, especially women, more so than men, we think we have to be skinny, we have to have this great job, we have to be these great mums. There's a lot of pressure these days. And I'm not saying men don't have that, because I think they do. But I just look at social media and I see perfection, and most of us aren't perfect.
Mm.
And
None of us.
No.
I haven't seen anyone perfect.
It's a shame that we feel we have to be, like being us should be enough.
How important is setting boundaries when it comes to dating, and how common is it for those who struggle with not knowing or understanding their boundaries, who also struggle with dating or relationships?
So I find boundaries is a bit of a fraught term, because people think that this is about rigidity. And I don't think it's about rigidity. It is just about what we're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And we have
Teaching
boundaries.
people how to treat you, right? You teach others how to treat you.
Yes, you're so right. So I guess those are what boundaries are. And we, if we want to grow good people, we need boundaries for those people, for those children to grow within. It's the same for us. Yeah. Boundaries are what make us comfortable.
Having a front door, eh?
Absolutely.
You don't just want anyone just walking in your house.
No, not at all. So I feel that some people don't know their boundaries, or don't have the confidence to be able to kind of voice their boundaries. Yeah. And that's where the problems are. So they end up in these relationships where they're not comfortable, but they keep it going. Talk to everybody, because you don't know who they are. You might kind of dismiss somebody, but then you talk to them. I've seen this so many times. And then they actually do have a relationship. Or who does that person know? Who's their brother, sister, cousin? It's all another connection.
Yeah.
And those things are so important.
Yeah, that's so true. Don't close yourself off to potential opportunities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just think that we kind of go, right, I'm looking for a date. That person's looks hot or whatever it is. And so I'll go there. Recipe for disaster. Whereas I think just getting to know people, genuine friendships, I just think that is a recipe for real happiness.
Yeah.
And we don't need to meet that person right now. I see so many people, especially women, who their lives are around meeting somebody. So wherever they go, they're checking out who's there and whatever. I go places, I'd have no idea who's around, because I like to enjoy who I'm with.
That's so cool.
So, and I say to people, just enjoy the people you're with. Enjoy what you're doing here and now. And don't worry about whether somebody, a potential partner for you, or...
You usually meet people when you're not looking for them, like friends or whatever they are.
Yeah. And I kind of think then also you're not that. You just, you kind of just get into your natural flow.
Exactly.
You're comfortable, you're confident. And that's when you meet people,
That's so
just
true.
as you say. Thank you. It's just been an amazing opportunity to meet you. It really
nice
is.
to meet you. Subscribe to Voices Unhindered podcast on Patreon if you want to hear exclusive behind-the-scenes content. Thank you for listening to Voices Unhindered. Subscribe to Voices Unhindered on Spotify or Apple Podcasts to never miss an episode.